Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have the head of state participate in the Russia summit in Sochi. For the international scene, historic agreement between Moscow and Ankara. Welcome to our newsroom. First, in the history of this country, the Russia-African Economic Forum, co-chaired by Russia and Egypt, opens today, Wednesday, October 23, 2019, at Sirius Park of Sciences and Arts in Sochi. Listen to the report.
Of Sochi in the Russian Federation to attend the first ever Russia-Africa Summit. Upon his arrival at Sochi City International Airport, the head of state was warmly welcomed by a representative of Russian Federation, member of the government, the ambassador of Djibouti, senior Djiboutian official and staff of Djibouti Embassy in Russia. The main events of Russia-Africa Summit and the Economic Forum are scheduled for 23 and 24 October 2019. The official program of the events include a preliminary session of theory and a round table on high level of panel discussion, as well as a multitude of opportunity to develop business partnership. The forum is important and predicable step toward establishing a foundation of promotion and strengthening of trade and economic relations between the economies of African continent for the diversification and intensification of economic collaboration between Russia and Africa. President Gelle will also hold a series of bilateral meetings in Sochi. In the margin of economic forum, the President of the Republic will visit the Djibouti exhibition and those of other countries on the territory of Media Center.
On the sidelines of the Russia-African Economic Forum in Sochi, the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, visit an exhibitionist devote to promising areas of cooperation between Russia and African country. The head of state honored with his presence at the Djibouti stand, which is widely represented in this unique exhibition is by the President of the Port and Free Trade Zone Authority, Abu Bakr Umar Hadi. This stand not only present investment potential in Djibouti, but also opportunity and asset that our nations can offer to the rest of the world. It should be noted that Djibouti is the main gateway between Russia and Africa, which will facilitate trade between the two countries. Djibouti shows that it can overcome obstacles to develop. The countries has moved up 55 places in 2019 doing business rankings and 44 places in the Logistics Performance Index. Our country is also one of the top 20 reforming economy in 2020. According to the report, the new railway link to the Dorale container terminals and multipurpose port will soon be linked to Djibouti's international free trade area. The railway will be a transcontinental railway from the Red Sea to the Atlantic Ocean. This fair was also a highlight where the various African countries and Russian companies present their product, technology, and services. For his part, the President of the Republic, Ismail Omar Guelleh, after his visit to the stand, spoke to our Djibouti radio television team and said that the Republic of Djibouti and Russia have had a long-standing friendship relationship. In this context, Russia is training Djibouti pilots and their mechanics, and we have to have economic relations in the near future. Several intellectuals and experts in the economic field, they took part in this summit to discuss ways and means of promoting African and Russian relations. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, today, Wednesday, sent a message of congratulations to the re-elected Prime Ministers of Canada, Justin Trudeau, in his telegrams, the head of state described the re-elections of the Canadian Prime Ministers as a clear signs of majority of Canadians who wish to evolve further under the leadership of Justin Trudeau. The many economic advances made during your terms of office are undoubtedly at the root of the renewal of confidence that you enjoy today. The President of the Republic wrote in substance, there is no doubt also that the effort undertaken to ensure greater solidarity among your compatriots and greater involvement of your countries in the main issue on the agenda in our world have pleaded in favor of your re-election. President Gele continued. The Minister of Women and Family and the National Union of Djibouti Women, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration and UNFPA, closed yesterday morning these meetings, which is of crucial importance for the development of Djibouti women. The event prompted the trip to Djibouti of the UN Deputy Secretary General Amina J. Mohamed, accompanied on several high-ranking UN officials and African Union international experts. Edna Aden Ismail, François Farah, and Michel Poulin were among the panelists who participate in this event, which would accelerate our country's commitment in 1994, thus stimulate the implementation of the ICPD programs of action, which is certainly an essential component for achieving the UN's Sustainable Development Objectives by 2030. Organized by the Ministry of Women and Family and the National Union of Djibouti Women, in collaboration with the International Organization for Migration and UNFPA. The closing ceremony of this event is presided over by the acting Prime Minister, the Minister of Justice for Present Affairs in charge of Human Rights, Ali Hassan Bahdoun, the Minister for Women and Family, Moumina Ahmed Hassan, his colleagues in charge of Solidarity and Social Affairs, Mona Osman Aden, the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations System, Amina J. Mohamed, accompanied by the several high-ranking UN officials and the African Union, and the Vice President of the National Union of Djibouti Women, Hasna Ahmed Bidil, representative of the UN organizations in Djibouti, the Mayor of the city, Fatma Awad Usman, local elected officials, members of the civil society, and anonymous personality attend this meeting. The representative of the African Union for Women and Peace and Security, Ms. Bineta Diop, congratulate the commitment made by the government of Djibouti and the Minister of Women, Ms. Moumina Ahmed, for the organization of this high-level conference. The Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Ms. Amina Mohamed, took the floor and congratulated the Djibouti's government on the organizations of this meeting. Listen to her, please.
Global level, at the regional level, at the country level. So the sky is the I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting us here today. Madam Diop said everything as it is, because what we came today in a solidarity mission to show our women in Africa is that you have women at the global level, at the regional level, at the country level. So the sky is the limit. You can go anywhere and you can do anything, inshallah. I'd like to thank the organizers for inviting us here today at the end of what must be an extremely deep deliberation as we listened to you reading the declaration. We are on a joint mission of the African Union and the UN, focused on women, on peace, on security, and on development. So we consider ourselves very fortunate to be here today at this important meeting. As we all know, next month we will commemorate 25 years since the historic International Conference on Population and Development in Cairo. This milestone is followed next year by 25 years anniversary of the historic platform of gender equality and women's rights in Beijing. A quarter of a century since these two historic milestones, we are seeing significant progress on gender equality and women's rights, including right here in Djibouti. I want to begin by acknowledging those advances, including the recent cabinet approval of bills on women's representation in decision-making, as well as on the Preventing Violence Against Women and Girls. The representation of women in your parliament has increased from 10% to 25% last year. Legal changes are a critical first step to inclusion and transformation change as it brings this to the whole of society. I commend your efforts in ensuring that women play an equal role in your communities. We know that when that happens, everyone benefits.
The Minister of Justice and Acting Prime Minister Ali Hassan Bahdoun in his speech thanked the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations System, Ms. Amina Mohammed. Listen to him, please.
This is a great gathering that you are having today. We are very proud to have women very active in Djibouti, acting very well and doing very well. We need them to be supported, and we'll try to support them as we can. And I have no worry for men, because men will be there also, but they have to work hard. But I believe that women need to be more support, because we have some values, some traditions, who maybe before was good, but maybe when we live in cities and countries like nowadays are not maybe the best ones. So we need to adapt our conditions, maybe to update our minds and think better for our sisters. And I'm sure we have all brothers and sisters, we have parents, so we are there, how we say, alhamdulillah, after work. Our mothers are our most big supporters, so we need to support women for our side. This declaration is very important today. We made Djibouti declaration. It's the first time we have a declaration, international declaration about women in Djibouti. From Beijing declaration to Djibouti declaration, much things have been done. So I would like to congratulate women and your delegation, and Africa is well represented also through you, Madam. And it's a very great honor for our country, our continent, to have leaders, female leaders, international level leaders. So we'll support you, and we hope that you'll go on the same way.
The meeting ended with a press conference where the Minister for Women and Family, Musmumina Ahmed Hassan, UNFD Vice President Hassan Ahmed Bilid, UNFPA representative in Djibouti, Aisha Ibrahim Jama, international experts Edna Aden Ismail, François Farah, and Michel Poulain answered the relevant questions from local press journalists. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mohammed Ali Ahmed, in accordance with the Article 22, Paragraph 1 and 2, the rules of procedures of conference, the conference of the President of the National Assembly was held on Wednesday, 23 October 2019 inside the Parliament premises in order to set the agenda for the draft law in progress and the date of the next plenary sessions. After reading the agenda, the President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, first indicated that the first draft law will be assigned to the Foreign Affairs Committee, and the second draft law will also be transmitted to the Foreign Affairs Committee, but that it will be extended to the Social Development Committee, and this taking into account the purpose of an area targeted by the taxes. In the same vein, the head of the hemicycle explained that the next 3 weeks will be very busy given the pending bills. The President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, received yesterday, Tuesday, 22 October, in audience, the new extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassador of the European Union, and to the Republic of Djibouti and the Intergovernmental Authorities on Development, IGAD, His Excellency Aden O'Hara. This meeting between the speakers and the EU head of missions took place in the presence of the head of the political sections, Patrick Geissens, and the attaches to the cooperation section of the EU delegations, Eduardo Lorenzo Otpa. And 1 week after the presentations of this credential to the President of the Republic and Chief of the Executive, the new EU representative and the speakers of the Djibouti Parliament wish to mark the first consultations with diligence and availability following the opening remarks, and as is customary in such circumstances, the ceremonial ritual in the arcades of the parliamentary precincts allowed President Ahmed and his distinguished guests to share their opinions on the vision, challenge, issue, and expectations that permit the actions undertaken by their respective institutions. The President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, and the Ambassador of the European Union, O'Hara, together officially opened our workshop. Listen to the report.
Ambassador of European Union, His Excellency Aurora launched interactive workshop on the Prague project. It should be noted that this acronym for project to strengthen the National Assembly is initiative funded by European Union, implemented by Inter-Parliamentary Union in close collaboration with the Djibouti National Assembly was component which began yesterday. This time concerned creation of women's caucus and gender caucus in the National Assembly. As a reminder, this workshop started yesterday and will be closed on 24 October with capacity building provided by Mrs. Meg Moon, Foreign Minister of United Kingdom, and inter-parliamentary expert specializing in governance and gender issue.
For his part, President Mohammed Ali Ahmed looked at the excellence of bilateral relations, calling for this desire to work with the greater cooperation between the two institutions. Committee itself is approved the Facts Commission overcome discussions, exchanges, and possible framework of chosen mechanism to strengthen through this in the Parliament VIP lounge. The President of the National Assembly, Mohammed Ali Ahmed, received in audience the Mohammed Mustafa Orfi, the new Egyptian ambassador to the Republic of Djibouti, accompanied to the occasions by the first councillors on the Djiboutian side, the advisors to the President of the Assembly, Ali Amdan Abdou, the Directors of Cabinet, Idris Mohammed Ahmed, and the Director of Legislative Procedures, Abdul Kader Ibrahim Idris, were present. After work of thanks, the head of state, the head of the diplomatic representation made an awareness-raising speech on the current challenges facing his countries, and the countries of the region pointed out the need for consensus and actions for the peaceful settlement of any dispute. The Minister of Labor in charge of the reform of administration, Isman Ibrahim Roble, received in audience the new Egyptian ambassador recently accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Mohammed Mustafa Orfi, this morning at his office. This meeting is part of the new Egyptian ambassador's contact with the Djibouti government. During this meeting, the minister first offered his warm welcome, congratulations to the Egyptian diplomat on these accreditations to Djibouti, and welcome him and wished to him a pleasant stay in the Republic of Djibouti. Then the minister recalled the excellence of the bonds of friendship and cooperation existing between the two friendly and brotherly countries. He also gave an overview of the various files of activity of his ministerial department, which he wishes to establish a collaboration with the Egyptian embassy. For his part, the ambassador of Egypt has undertaken to take all necessary steps to cooperate with the Minister of Labor. The Minister of Muslim Affairs and Culture, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, took part in the work of the Summit of Muslim Religious Leaders of the African continent, which was held in Istanbul from 19 to 22 October. Listen to Idris Mahmoud.
Minister of Muslim Affairs and Culture, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, took part in the work of Summit of Muslim Religious Leaders of African Continent, which was held in Istanbul from 19 to 22 October. This third edition is organized by Presidency of Religious Affairs in Turkey's Diyanet. The main importance was the promotion of cooperation and solidarity with the African country. The inaugural ceremony took place at the historic place Dolmabahçe, in the presence of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. The third summit was attended by Minister of Religious Affairs, Ulama and academic from 51 African countries. The summit aimed to provide Muslim communities in Africa with a platform to meet, strengthening fraternal ties and promote cooperation in education and religious service. This meeting also opened the way to discuss fundamental problems with the view to finding sustainable solutions. The summit also seeks to strengthen bilateral relations between Turkey and Muslim countries in Africa to share experience in the field of religious service to boost cooperation in all areas.
The mayor of the city, Fatma Awad Osman, has received in his cabinet the delegation from UNDP and the European Union, headed by the deputy representative of UNDP, Ms. Kauthar and Mr. Christophe Lalonde. It was the first contact the mayor had with the delegations prior to their appointment in Djibouti. It was mainly about the fructuous collaboration that has just started, also about ongoing projects, and especially those including in the mayor's programs. Very optimistic in this new partnership. The mayor of the city, Fatma Awad Osman, is involved in several projects after the service of those who elected him. When it comes to the emancipation of women, all those who could arm him in his roundness of the hair. A statement of the ambassador of Turkey to Djibouti, Turkish ambassadors to Djibouti, His Excellency Salim Levente Shahinkaya, made a statement which he explained the Turkish offensive in Syria against the Kurdish armed group present in the northeast along the borders. The series of meetings focused on the promotion of children's rights were held last Sundays in the Damerjog localities on the Ata district and in the neighborhood 1, 2, and 4, the capital organized in the capitals by the Community Management Committee of this area in collaboration with the UNFD. These meetings are part of the programs for the promotion and protection of rights. The programs, these meetings provided an opportunity for the coordinator of the Community Management Committee to raise awareness among residents and in particular parents in the fight against the harmful practices of female genital mutilation and malnutrition. For the international scene, Moscow and Ankara together take controls of most of northeastern Syria, an area plagued by growing conflict between Turkish military and Kurdish fighters. After 6 hours of negotiations, Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Vladimir Putin initially decided to deploy Russian and Syrian military patrols in the area of the border, strips bordering the areas where the Turkish army launched a military operation in early October. The Kurdish militia of the People's Protection Unit must withdraw within 115 hours from 23 October at noon beyond 30 kilometers with their weapons. The organization's fortification and position will be destroyed at the end of the 115 hours. Turkish and Russia patrol will begin at the depths of 10 kilometers to the west and east of the Operation Sources of Peace area. The terrorists of Tal Rifat and Minbet will leave this area with their weapons, the Turkish president said, described the agreement with Moscow as historic. Through long and intensive work, we have succeeded at taking decisions that I believe are very important. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.